I have a terrible secret that I keep to myself, but I don't like to bring it up during conversations. And after what happened last week, I really feel like I'm a completely different person. So, about 3 weeks ago, I was doing my chores around the house. My sister and I take turns every Tuesday taking out the trash, and it was my turn last Tuesday. It was a bright sunny day, and there was not a single cloud in the sky. Those are the days when I desperately try not to go outside. Even during recess in gym class in school, my teachers have asked me countless times why I don't participate with the class, and every time I give them the same response. It's complicated, but the actual reason why I avoid going out on sunny days is something that nobody can know, not even my friends and family. It's my shadow. My shadow is not like everyone else's. While normal shadows just seem to follow you wherever you go, mine has a little different perspective. Whenever I think of something or when my emotions get the best of me, my shadow literally projects my thoughts and feelings, no matter the situation. Anyway, I'm taking out the trash, and I'm thinking to myself, how is it that I always get stuck with the hard work and my sister gets to be treated like a queen? Just then, I look at the trash bin, and I see my shadow swirling around in a strange and unpeculiar way. It takes the shape of my sister, who is laughing, and is shown wearing a crown on her head. Then, even more strangely, the shadow starts speaking. My brother knows that I'm 2 weeks older than him. I'll make sure he stays out of my way, and I'll show him who really deserves to be Mom and Dad's favorite. I could not believe my eyes and ears. This was something that I could not comprehend. I decided to go inside and take a rest. I walked through the back door and saw my mother making tonight's dinner. I'm going to go rest for a while, I said. It's been a long day for me. Okay, honey, I'll let you know when dinner's ready, said my mother. I went up to my room and laid quietly on my bed, trying to decipher if what really happened outside actually did happen. After a while, I dozed off. About 20 minutes later, I woke to the sound of sinister chuckling. I jolted out of my bed and looked around for the source of the sound. I looked under my bed, only to hear the chuckles louder from behind me. I slowly stood up and turned my head around, only to see my shadow on the wall facing me. I just looked and stared at it. It took the form of myself, only that it had more messed up hair and had super long, elongated fingers. I raised my left hand up, and my shadow did the same. Then, to my genuine horror, my shadow smiled with sharp white teeth in a disturbingly grotesque way that made my spine tingle. I took a few steps toward my bedroom door, and my shadow just stayed where it was, not moving an inch. I went downstairs where the rest of my family were and started to eat. So, how was school, Johnny? Asked my dad. As usual, I tried to speak without thinking, or else my shadow shows my thoughts. So quickly, I said, pretty much the same. My dad shrugged, and I went back to eating. I quietly told myself, don't think, don't think. Just focus about what's going on around you. My mind will be a solid wall. I won't let any thoughts escape me. My sister looked up at me and said, who are you talking to? I looked at her with a sense of anxiety and said, no one. I'm just reminding myself to wash the dishes. My mother smiled at me and said, why, thank you, Jonathan. It was the only thing that I could say at the moment. After dinner, I washed everyone's dishes. I went to the bathroom to take a nice hot shower. I decided I needed one to calm myself down. That shower was just the thing the doctor ordered. After 10 minutes in there, I dried myself off and headed to my room to get my pajamas. I then grabbed my comb and started to comb my hair, but when I looked in the mirror, I nearly had a heart attack. My shadow was at the far end of the room, behind my bed, and smiling, revealing its knife-like teeth. I waved my head around, only to find my shadow gone. Was my mind playing tricks on me? I thought I was going crazy. The next day, I sat at the end of the lunch table in the school cafeteria by myself. My best friend Daniel walked up to me and asked if I was okay. I told him that I was, and went back to eating. At the end of the day, I grabbed my jacket from my locker and shut it. I jumped. My shadow was now on my locker, grinning more grotesquely than ever. It took the form of myself again, with the same messy hair and long fingers it had the previous night. I started to back away, but my shadow then swirled around again, and this time it took the shape of Daniel. I couldn't take this anymore. I ran as fast as I could without looking back. When I got home, I ran straight to my room and locked the door. I could hear my mother on the other side asking me if I was okay. I looked frantically behind me, then said, "Yeah, I'm fine. I just have a ton of homework that I have to do." I closed my curtains and turned off the light. I decided to stay in my room for the rest of the night and let my thoughts roam free in the darkness. I finally drifted off to sleep around 10:30. Around midnight, I heard the same sinister chuckling from the day before. I opened my eyes, only to see pitch black. I went back to sleep. 5 minutes later, I heard it again, and sat up, not daring to turn on my light. "Who are you?" I asked. All of a sudden, I felt lightheaded and started to reach for my lamp. I yanked my hand away at the last second. Then I realized my shadow was trying to get inside my head. I got out of my bed and looked around. "Where are you?" I yelled. I heard my shadow laughing louder now, and I forced myself to ignore it. I walked slowly back toward the bed, when suddenly I felt something tug at my shirt and lift me up from the floor. I then got shoved against my bedroom door and started to sob. I got an agonizing shot of pain in my back when I heard the chuckling once more. Then I got dragged from my floor to my lamp. "Turn it on," I heard a raspy and eerie voice whisper. Every part of my body told me to remain motionless and ignore the command. I felt long hands gripping my shirt that were cold as ice. Then, without realizing it, I saw that my hand had started to reach for the lamp on its own, and I tried to pull it back, but it was like I was being controlled like a marionette. My hand turned the knob, and I shut my eyes, not wanting to see what monstrosity took hold of me. "Jonathan, you cannot think your way out of this," my shadow said. "I can control your very emotions and thoughts. Let your fear take over and look at me. I want to get a good look at the horrifying expression on your face." I had to obey. There was no other choice. I slowly opened my eyes and shuddered in terror. I saw very long fingers clutching my shirt, and feet that turned sideways opposite each other. I looked up to see a figure entirely pitch black with messy hair and an inhuman grin spreading across its face. It didn't have eyes, but it seemed to stare into my very soul. "Why are you doing this to me?" I yelled. My shadow chuckled and put a finger on my cheek and said, "It's complicated.